Perez has given up his seat. Or this is what they want us to believe. Liam Lawson has been promoted to the Red Bull main team, making him the first Red Bull Junior since 2020. Isaac Hadyar is promoted from F2 to Racing Bulls, and yet all I read are negative comments about the decisions Horner and Marko made. Because people wanted Yuki Tsunoda in that seat. A lot of the criticism doesn't make any sense. So let's examine it, shall we? I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. As you all know, Red Bull has 2 teams. The Red Bull senior team to win prizes, and a junior team to help develop their young junior drivers. For a long time, Red Bull kept bringing new talent to F1. Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, and that's where things changed. After Ricciardo left for Renault, Gasly was promoted, but after crashing during testing and 6 poor races, he was demoted to the sister team Toro Rosso, and Albon finished the season. Albon had a lot of problems with the 2020 car, which wasn't great, as the team later found out. But the damage was done, and Albon's confidence had taken a hit. So Red Bull tried a stopgap solution with Sergio Perez, who was paid out of his contract by Racing Point by Lawrence Stroll to get Vettel in that seat. Perez performed okay, but the gaps to Verstappen were the same as Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly's. The car was a lot more dominant, so it went a little bit more under the radar. Every season there were fans' calls to get Perez out of that seat for someone better. Every season with Perez there were slumps in his results. But in the dominant 2023 season, he did manage to get second in the overall standings. In 2024 he started off great and then got his slump, which he never recovered from, despite signing a new contract to give him confidence. I feel Red Bull did everything to get Sergio Perez out of his predicament, something his predecessors didn't get. After months of people hating on Red Bull and Perez, they finally found a solution and let Checo go. It wasn't doing anyone any good. You'd think that that would make the fans and the media happy. But they weren't, because they wanted to say in who got fired and now in who got hired. They hired the wrong driver in their eyes. Ever since Yuki Tsunoda's appearance in Drive to Survive, the young Japanese driver has been a fan favorite. His spicy rants over the radio, his honest interviews, and the way he said that he hated training but loved cooking were very endearing to many fans. And they have a soft spot for him. I like him a lot too. And I must admit that he's slowly growing into his position as a solid midfield driver. I made a season recap podcast with F1 Unchained, and in the first half of the season alone, he had some wonderful overtakes and special races that went a little bit under the radar because he didn't score many points. I'll leave the podcast up as an end screen for the people who haven't seen it yet. Was his performance good enough to merit the promotion? Well, at Red Bull they looked at the full package and concluded that the headstrong and versatile Liam Lawson was a better choice, even with only 11 races under his belt. Helmut Marko said in an interview that Tsunoda has improved in many ways. His temper got less, his technical feedback got better, and he got faster. However, he's not consistent enough. Incidents like in Mexico, for instance, should not happen anymore. And he has 2025 to show one more time what he's made of. If the Racing Bull package is a little bit more competitive, he may well be able to shine a little bit more. A podium would be great to shake things up. Now, the blonde New Zealander, Liam Lawson, is a proper Red Bull junior who has made an impression at DTM and WimboFormula. He was also a super sub in tricky conditions when Ricciardo broke his hand at Zandvoort 2023. Tsunoda has always had this Honda backing hanging over him, and it is believed that if he wasn't backed by Honda, he'd be replaced after his first season. He was quite surprised that he got extended, as he comically said in an interview later in the next season. This is why we love Tsunoda. I do understand Red Bull and their choice for Liam Lawson and not Tsunoda. Seeing what a mental strain it was on Gasly, Albon and Perez to be beaten all the time by Max Verstappen, it's safe to say that an emotional guy like Yuki isn't the best fit. Now, before I get unsubscribed by many of you, I don't know if Liam Lawson is gonna succeed either. What I can say is that he starts with a clean slate and low expectations. And with his ability to drive pretty much anything, he might get used to the RB21 and might stay close to Max Verstappen. That's what we want. As for Tsunoda, we rate him pretty high, and he is a great benchmark for the new Red Bull Junior, Isaac Hadyar, coming in. If Hadyar beats him or performs at the same level, it's safe to say he's an excellent driver. So I completely understand where Horner and Marko are coming from, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. If it all works out well, they'll silence the critics. So what do the critics say? There is a group of people who say that Red Bull is racist for not picking Asian driver Tsunoda. This is weird, because Albon is from Thailand and Hadyar is from an Algerian French background. We can put that Aryan thing to bed quickly. A lot of people say Tsunoda is more deserving of that seat because he was in the junior team for 4 years, and it isn't fair to leave him in there for a 5th. My take on that is that although his performance was decent, he wouldn't have been there without the Honda link. I feel Red Bull couldn't replace him as long as they worked with Honda, and now that the Red Bull powertrains is nearly starting, he's free to go. Christian Horner said as much. Seeing as there's only 20 seats in Formula 1 available right now, it will be 22 in 2026. I think Tsunoda should be grateful to have a seat. Many others wish they were in his shoes. He should be happy to have gotten the time to develop his skill in a low pressure environment, and who knows what 2026 will bring. If he is as good as people make him out to be, he'll have a seat no problem. Aston Martin with Honda engines is rumoured a lot, and it would definitely be an improvement to see Lance Stroll in WEC and Yuki with Alonso at Aston Martin. It just baffles me to see so many hateful statements against the choice of Lawson. He admitted that he posts updates and then stays away from social media comments because he's getting a lot of hate. Red Bull, who were scrutinized for hiring outside of the Red Bull pool, are putting in a proper Red Bull Junior now and get roasted for it. Red Bull, who have been slated for not giving drivers enough time to adjust, have given Perez plenty of time and they got slated for that. People have short memories, or they're looking for any opportunity to hate on Red Bull. I feel Red Bull is on its way back again to the good old days, without internal struggles, without sponsors dictating their lineups. All we need now is the good old Toro Rosso name back, and everyone will be happy. I hope Lawson scores loads of podiums and Tsunoda gets a great seat in 2026 to silence the critics, even if it's only for a month or two. I have trust in the organization again, and I have faith in Lawson in the Red Bull senior team. He's quick and adaptable, these cars are a handful to drive, and for him to have stepped in and be on the pace so quickly is telling. He's not easily intimidated and he'll fight anyone hard, just like Verstappen does. He knows he's up against a 4-time world champion and he's not setting out to beat him, he's aiming to learn from him. And this will prevent any sort of frustration, I believe. If you are a big Tsunoda fan and you have faith in him, then you must trust that everything will work out for him too, just not at the Austrian team. Maybe at the team from Silverstone. Subscribe. Take care now.